Namaskar. It gives me great pleasure आज इस अवसर पर आप सबके साथ चर्चा करने के लिए. And I would like to thank the organizers, SOUL, for this important event because I believe interacting with young Bharatiyas like you who are going to shape our nation and the world in the coming generation is very important. I was asked to talk about leadership lessons in my journey. Now, you have had exposure to some of the best and most successful leaders. The Honorable Prime Minister himself spoke to you, who is, I think, the epitome of leadership lessons, coming from a humble background to become a historic third consecutive term Prime Minister, and more important than that, the most popular leader in the world and who is transforming India. You couldn't have got any better leadership lessons than to interact with personalities like that, and with my friend and colleague Bhupender Yadav ji, who was just here speaking to you. So I want to start by saying that the lessons I have learned are not necessarily universal. What has worked for me or what I believe I should be following, not necessarily true for everybody. Everybody has to discover their own path. Everybody has to learn their own lessons and decide what kind of leader they are going to be. But since I have been asked to share my thoughts, my journey, my lessons, I have decided to highlight 3 points. I mean, one can talk at length about different aspects of leadership, but I want to mention these 3, which I have found have stood out for me more than any others. These 3 are, I'm going to talk a little bit about destiny, I'm going to talk about choices, and I'm going to talk about persistence. These are 3 lessons I have learned in my lifetime. So what I want to say about destiny is, no one can control their destiny, but everyone can contribute to their destiny. People seem to have a binary attitude of black or white, that either ye sab kuch destiny hai. That's not true. You're not going to win a lottery, at least until you buy a lottery ticket. It is also not true that you can entirely control your destiny. What is true, you can help shape your destiny, you can help contribute. But ultimately, the universe has a way of helping shape things. So neither are you helpless, nor are you in total control. That is the lesson I have learned. The fact that you are not helpless means you have to strive. And the fact that you are not in always total control means that you have to also learn to be at one with the universe and let it take you where you are supposed to go. I was not supposed to be in politics. I didn't come from a political family. But in my own way, doing the things I was doing, I ended up in politics, and I have been working towards making my contribution to the new India, to the Naya Bharat, in politics. But politics is not the only way to do it. One can do it in any different field. The lessons I have learned is that whatever you throw into the universe will throw back at you with much more force. You throw good into the universe, it'll throw back good at you in a much more powerful way. Not necessarily at a time of your choosing, but it'll happen. I have learned that as you go through life and your career, you will come across people who wrong you. And it is human tendency to get fixated on getting even, on getting revenge, on setting things right. I have learned that it's not worth it. I have learned that that bandwidth should be better spent on improving yourself, on taking yourself forward, and leave revenge to the universe. It has worked for me. I don't know if it'll work for you, but this is what has worked for me. There is an old saying which I have taken to heart, because many people get wronged by friends, enemies, colleagues. The lesson I learned from this was, living well and succeeding is the best revenge. And for that, you have to trust your efforts and you have to trust the universe. The second thing I want to talk about is choices. There is an old saying, another old saying I want to share with you. And this old saying is, you can be anything you want, but you can't be everything you want. So as you get into adulthood and as you progress in life, you'll have to start making choices. And the choices means you'll have to start saying no to a lot of things. You'll have to focus on what you really want to pursue. And for that, you'll have to start saying no to certain leisure activities. You'll have to start saying no to certain career options. You'll have to start saying no to certain usage of your time. You may have heard of the saying that you have to do things with passion. It's true, but I've realized that it's not everyone. In fact, it's the rare person who is born with or from a very young age has a passion about something. There are people who are from a young age passionate about something. Could be cricket, could be acting, could be entrepreneurship. But I have also learned that people develop passion. When I was in school and college, I didn't know I would be in politics. I didn't plan for it. But many people call me passionate about the causes that I pursue, about tackling malnutrition, about improving the system, about making systemic changes that reward virtuous cycles instead of vicious cycles. Passion comes with doing things over a long period of time, deleting other things that you might have been doing or might have been wanting to do, and gradually having a focus on one particular aspect. So, choices sounds like an easy thing. It's not. It's very easy to say yes to things. Very hard to say no to things. Very hard to say no to hanging out with your friends over the weekend when a project that you're working for could use your extra dedicated time. Something that will succeed, that will help take you forward. The third point I wanted to bring about, so I've talked about destiny, I've talked about choices, and I want to talk about persistence. As I said, there are many aspects of success, many aspects of leadership. I could myself talk about many more than these three. And you have heard and will hear many other aspects of what it takes to be a leader and to succeed. As I said, each of you have to learn your own lessons and adapt the lessons that you hear and learn to your own circumstances. And you have to decide what you are going to make of your life. But the one thing that I find overrides everything else. Can anyone guess? One characteristic that predicts success more than anything else. Humble, focus, consistency, discipline, behavior, talent, attitude. Somebody just said the word. Perseverance. It has been proven in many studies, and my own experience has been, talent is often overrated. All these other aspects are important, including talent, but the one sure predictor of success is persistence. I have seen people with very mediocre talent succeed in fields where they don't have any of the attributes really to succeed, with sheer persistence. If there's one attribute, one characteristic you want to put over all else, it has to be persistence. When I recruit people or when I mentor people, I look for this attitude of persistence, but related to it, I also look for one or two other attributes, and it is attitude. If you have the right attitude, you can learn anything. If you have the right attitude, you can gain any skills or figure out a way of harnessing those skills from others. Nothing can replace persistence and attitude. Now, as I said, I myself can take a lot of your time and talk about many other aspects, but if you remember these three, I believe if you learn how to adapt these lessons to your life, they won't work for you exactly the way they have worked for me. But if you figure out how to apply these pointers, I'm sure it will take you a very long way and to a great deal of success and to leadership positions. As I wind up, I wanted to say that we are living at a time which is on a very historical cusp. There was a time for thousands of years that Bharat was the destination for the whole world. People who wanted to learn came to Bharat. People who were in search of spirituality, they came to Bharat. People who were in search of fortune and fame, they came to Bharat. And of course, there were others. There were invaders. There were many other kind of people. But these three very important aspects of what people look for: learning, spirituality, fame and fortune, we were the go-to place. We lost that over a millennia. We lost that because of assaults from outside, but even more important than that, our own loss of self-confidence as a nation. We have started reawakening. We have started remembering, understanding what we are and who we are and where we are headed. I often describe this generation of Indians leading up to you, who are going to lead the next generation, has seen a transformation from a Bharat that was diffident to a Bharat that is confident. This transformation of our nation from diffidence to confidence it shines in the face of the young generation that makes up most of our demographic. And that is why we are on the cusp of history. And it is the greatest time to be living and to be living in Bharat. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. I can take a couple of questions if they have. They have many? How many?
नमस्कार सर, मैं हेमांगी शर्मा हरियाणा से। आपके जीवन का सफ़र वास्तव में प्रेरणादायक है, जो हमें काफ़ी कुछ सीखने के लिए प्रेरित करता है। आज आप देश के एक प्रमुख स्थान पर पद पर आसीन हैं। आपके सफ़र में ऐसी क्या चुनौतियाँ आईं जिसका आपने डटकर सामना किया और आपने किस प्रकार उस चुनौतियों ने आपके जीवन पर प्रभाव डाला? और इसके अलावा सर, हम यहाँ सभी यंग लीडर्स बैठे हैं कि जिन युवाओं ने अपना करियर आगे पॉलिटिक्स में बनाना है या समाज को अपना जीवन समर्पित करना है, उसके लिए आप हमें क्या गुरु मंत्र देना चाहेंगे?
बहुत अच्छा सवाल। मैं इस पर थोड़ा इशारा किया था, थोड़ा और जोड़ता हूँ। जो चुनौतियाँ मैंने फेस किया, धोखा, अनफेयर ट्रीटमेंट, बिट्रेयल, लेकिन इसका रिस्पॉन्स जो मैंने सीखा कि इसको ठीक करने में, बदला लेने में मुझे समय नहीं वेस्ट करना चाहिए। मुझे मेरा बैंडविड्थ रखना चाहिए खुद को आगे लेने के लिए। जो मैंने कहा कि लिविंग वेल एंड सक्सीडिंग इज द बेस्ट रिवेंज, द यूनिवर्स विल टेक केयर ऑफ दोज हु आर हार्मिंग यू। ये पॉलिटिक्स से पहले भी ये लेसन एक बार सीखा था और पॉलिटिक्स में आने के बाद भी यही मुझे सीखना पड़ा दोबारा। और जैसे मैंने कहा, द एंड रिजल्ट इज दैट व्हाटएवर आई डू, मैं पूरा 100% उसमें देता हूँ। लेकिन रिजल्ट क्या होता, मैं उससे डिसअपॉइंटेड नहीं होता हूँ कि बहुत ज़्यादा एक्साइटेड भी नहीं होता हूँ, वो यूनिवर्स पर छोड़ देता हूँ।
सर, पॉलिटिक्स में हमारे लिए गुरु मंत्र?
और पॉलिटिक्स में गुरु मंत्र ऐसा है कि अनलाइक एनी अदर फील्ड, पॉलिटिक्स में आपको कॉन्टिन्यूटी बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है। आपकी इंटेग्रिटी और आपके कमिटमेंट और लॉयल्टी बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है। तो आप जहाँ विश्वास करते हैं, जिस आइडियोलॉजी में, जिस लीडरशिप में आप विश्वास करते हैं, उसी पर आपके समय दीजिए। मेरे लाइफ में भी ऐसे ऑप्शंस आए थे पॉलिटिक्स में, थोड़ा साइड पाथ में जाकर थोड़ा जल्दी आगे बढ़ जाएं, लेकिन ऐसे नेता, ऐसे आइडियोलॉजी जिसमें मेरा अपना विश्वास नहीं रहा, मैं कभी उसको पिक नहीं किया।
हेलो सर, जय जगन्नाथ सर। मु कटक ओडिशा आसी and I have living in near Imfa from last like 10-12 years. Many of the people know you as a leader, as a political leader, as a speaker, but I know Imfa very closely. I have seen it. It's a very well established industry. Sir, I want to ask you कि आपके पास सब कुछ था. Bansidhar sir have done everything and he has established such a huge industry. आप वहाँ पे भी leadership को लेके आगे बढ़ सकते थे. Then why political leadership and how it helped you as a person, as an individual? आपके ग्रोथ में उसने क्या हेल्प किया?
जय जगन्नाथ। हमारी बहन जो उड़ीसा से हैं, जिस संस्था के बारे जिक्र कर रहे थे, वो हमारे पारिवारिक कंपनी है, जो मेरे माता और पिता 65 साल पहले उसको शुरू किए थे। मेरे पिता एक टेक्नोक्रेट हुआ करते थे, यूएस में एक दशक रहे थे। वापस आके वो कहीं भी रह सकते थे, मुंबई, दिल्ली में, लेकिन उन्होंने चूज़ किया वापस घर जाके उड़ीसा में, रिमोट एरिया में, आदिवासी अंचल में उनका इंडस्ट्री शुरू करने के लिए। मैं भी वहाँ काम किया था बहुत सारे 10-11 साल, और जब मैं राजनीति में शामिल हो गया, आई हैड अ वेरी, एक धर्म संकट आया था। जब राजनीति में मैं शामिल हुआ तो मेरे पिताजी ने मुझे बिठाकर, ही गेव मी अ स्टार्क चॉइस। ही सेड, देखो तुम राजनीति में जाना चाहते हो, अच्छी बात है, परंतु या तो राजनीति करो या तो बिजनेस करो, दोनों मत करो। 3 दिन का समय लो और चुन लो क्या करना है। तो मुझे 3 दिन सोचने के बाद मैं राजनीति में शामिल हुआ और उस दिन से मेरा डायरेक्ट इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं रहा है। और ये बहुत सही सलाह था पिताजी का, क्योंकि मेरा कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट नहीं है। मैं कभी अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए, अपने जो जुड़े हुए संस्था, उनके लिए कभी सिफारिश नहीं किया। 25 साल में कोई एक भी उदाहरण नहीं दे सकते हैं कि आप इनके लिए काम करते हैं। मैं राजनीति में हूँ, मैं दिस इज एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द हार्ड चॉइसेस वन हैज़ टू मेक, एंड you have to narrow down your options so that you can excel in one. पूछिए।
हेलो सर, मेरा नाम है हर्ष राजपूत, मैं गुजरात से हूँ। सर, आपने कहा कि हमें काफ़ी चीज़ों को नो कहनी पड़ती है। सर, एस्पेशली व्हेन इट्स अबाउट करियर, हम ऐसे स्टेज पे आ जाते हैं कि आगे देयर आर मल्टीपल रोड्स डाइवर्जिंग एंड वी कैन सी नथिंग अहेड। तो सर, ऐसे में जैसे हमारी पूरी लाइफ है आगे, तो हम ऐसे डिसीजंस कैसे परफेक्टली ले सकते हैं? जैसे आपने अपना करियर पूरा ट्रांजिशन किया, वी हु आर एस्पायरिंग टू बी इन पॉलिटिक्स, हाउ शैल वी टेक अ प्रॉपर डिसीजन कि क्या ये हमारे लिए सही भी रहेगा आगे, एंड हाउ वेल वी विल बी एबल टू कंट्रीब्यूट टू द कम्युनिटी?
पहले तो परफेक्शन के लिए एस्पायर मत करिए। आप अगर सोचते हैं कि ये चॉइसेस आसान है, नहीं है, बहुत कठिन है। और आप ठीक कह रहे हो, एट योर स्टेज इन लाइफ देयर आर मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस, और उसमें से नैरो डाउन करना कठिन काम होता है। और ये मत सोचो कि आप सोच समझ कर भी नैरो डाउन करो अपने ऑप्शंस, सब ठीक रहेगा। आई हैव इन माई 25 years इन पॉलिटिक्स, आई हैव हैड फुल ऑफ डाउट्स, फुल ऑफ थिंकिंग कि क्या मैं सही किया, नहीं किया। तो अल्टीमेटली यू हैव टू गेट दैट सेंस इन योर गट फील में होना चाहिए कि हाँ मैं सही कर रहा हूँ। सम ऑप्शंस may seem obvious, some options may not seem obvious, लेकिन आसान कभी नहीं होंगे। जी।
Hello sir, this is Sanjeev from Tripura. I just want to I just want your advice on 2 situations. One you have already mentioned, but I want to mention it in a detailed manner. Every young active political followers aspire for being candidate or win any election, starting from panchayat level, then assembly, then parliamentary. They hope for bigger and bigger day by day. But very unfortunately, sometimes deserving person or the one who has a great knowledge in policy making are thrown out by selecting the ones who are close to the higher political leaders or the selection committee. Even some good people who don't actually want to involve in something like so-called open secret in politics, like give and take policy in ground level, even though he or she has to do it because of the ground politics and ground management, the give and take policy, until they reach a certain height, maybe where they can stop this thing that give and take should ban from the ground level. And but in the midway they got vanished. Please tell us what is your thought or advice to such candidates or person or young leaders who are in these situations, like how to survive this 2 type of situation. One is being thrown out, even being so much confident and so much good in policy making, and another one is the give and take policy in the ground level.
Good question. There are examples that you can learn from. Modi ji is a great example. He has come from the ground up all the way to the top. Nobody can point a finger at him for any unethical practice. He has set the example. देखिए, पॉलिटिक्स में there are some unique challenges जो अन्य कैरियर्स में नहीं होते हैं। तो पॉलिटिक्स में you can there are issues. It's not that politics doesn't have challenges or doesn't have problems. But there is an effort to clean it up and to make it more reflective of the nation today. So, politics में आप देखे हैं कि nepotism has worked in the past. You have seen politics में जो कोई पार्टी या संगठन के साथ काम करके politics में आते हैं, कोई social work करके आते हैं, कोई mid career change करते हैं, कुछ और करते हुए फिर politics में आते हैं. मेरा आपको ये एक lesson I have learned is from close up politics can happen through all of these methods. But the fundamental essence which many people who are in politics also they forget is politics is about connecting with the masses. If you are able to do good for the public, if you are able to do good for the masses, then you can overcome many of these challenges and temptations and compulsions that a politician faces. If you are able to devote your time to improving the lives of, you may wonder, ki, until I get to a position, how can I help people's lives? It's not true. There are many things you can do. You know, a simple example like cleaning up your neighborhood under Swachh Bharat will help you make your name among your community, among your neighborhood. कि ये लड़का कुछ कर रहा है, सही कर रहा है. That is how it starts. You can achieve some level of success in politics through all these various paths. But the one underlying factor is you must connect with the people. इसके बाद एक और last question.
Good morning, sir. Sir, हर एक leader को एक guru चाहिए होता है. So how I as an individual can convince you to be my guru, such a renowned politician?
I have mentored many people over the past 2 decades, both in politics and in policy field. People forget that mentoring is a two-way street. Mentoring is not that there is a guru who gives you gyan or advice and you just absorb. Mentoring requires commitment. Mentoring requires seeing a mentor as somebody that can guide you and be, to take advantage of that. It's not just like a stepping stone. Some people think mentoring is about a stepping stone. किसी के साथ आप mentoring लो, then you move on. Real mentoring over a long term involves commitment, it involves sacrifices. So those of you who are going to be in politics, you must understand that it requires sacrifices. Because young people with your talents, young people with your profile, at your age, you can certainly get into the corporate world and start earning much more than those of your friends who do social work or get into politics, organizing for a party or organizing for an election. So it calls for sacrifices. It's not, if anybody thinks politics is a bed of roses, I can assure you it is not. One last question.
Sir.
Yeah, young lady here in the front.
So my one question is that in this emerging age where everyone is flourishing, you see the youth around is like you see other people, they are doing better than you, and you always feel that sense of insecurity that that person is doing better than me and I'm still lagging behind. No, and others might assume you and say that no, you are doing great. But then how to overcome these certain insecurities and be that proud of yourself for whatever you have done without comparing ourselves with others?
That's a very good question. It is natural because at this stage in your life, it becomes apparent that in certain paths, you will start getting rewards quickly. And certain other paths, the rewards may not be very quick, may not be very certain. So, look, even if people are interested in politics, they don't have to necessarily do everything from the grassroots. There are people who work in a different field, become financially stable, then they start getting involved in politics. That's also, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are going to work from the grassroots, you get a different grasp of politics. When you I've seen people who have joined politics at a higher level. They don't understand the ethos and the mindset of the grassroots karyakarta. And they don't necessarily understand, for example, there are many people in journalism who are political pundits. And many times you'll see they get it completely wrong. Because their idea of politics is hanging around with the leaders. And real politics and our most successful leaders, they bypass all of that and they have a connect with the average Bharatiya and understand what motivates them, what they are seeking. So being in grassroots politics has a different kind of benefit in your training as a politician. But whether in politics or whether in any other field, you have to develop a sense that whether what you are doing is fulfilling for you or not. If you are focused that I am fulfilled only if I achieve this, then it is a more transactional relationship with that career. If it is true that the journey is more important than the destination. If you are feeling happy with the journey, of course you must focus on a destination, but that doesn't mean that that you don't focus on the journey. So if the journey is not fulfilling for you, you should examine whether that is what is for you, or you want to choose something else. You should be comfortable with the journey, with all its hardships. But remember one thing, politics is not like other careers where you just go from one step to another. A lot of effort spent over several years can suddenly lead to quite dramatic success. We have just had an election in Delhi. I was fortunate to be entrusted by my party to be in charge of the campaign. We have got a new woman chief minister, first time MLA. But she may be first time MLA, but she is a 30-year overnight success. People think, "Arey, overnight success." Not overnight. 30 years of working in the party, slogging, organizing party events, going and meeting people by the hundreds and the thousands and the lakhs, having intermediate success along the way as a councillor, as a mayor. But many people think, oh, first time MLA, become chief minister. It's not like that. It's not an overnight success story. It is a 30 years ka overnight success story. Thank you.